I know exactly where your head is at, Laker Nation. You're scrolling on the 405, radio low, timeline loud, thinking the same thing your group chat won't stop typing. Are we really about to move on from Dalton Knecht, or are we just restless because the game never slows down in this city? I hear you, and I'm going to ride shotgun with you through the noise and the nuance because this one touches every nerve we've built the last year. Shooting variance, cap flexibility, playoff matchups, and that LA instinct to want the shiny fix yesterday. Here's the vibe for tonight. I'm going to talk to you like we're leaning on the rail at UCLA Health Training Center, watching reps, not chasing headlines. I'll break down where the front office actually stands after last season's trade saga and the October option decision, why his role keeps getting rewritten in pencil and not pen, the real basketball jobs he has to win to stay on the floor when the lights are bright, and the narrow lane where a trade would make basketball sense instead of just make noise. I'll keep the numbers to what matters, I'll keep the tone clean and direct, and at the end, I'll give you the line you came for, the one that answers the question none of us stop asking in this town. Is Dalton out? Or are we talking ourselves into chaos because Los Angeles hates boring patience? First, let's put the feeling into words, because the feeling is real. When a young shooter in purple and gold pops early, this city doesn't just cheer, it starts planning parades. Dalton's first heater felt like summer on the Venice boardwalk. Open threes falling in rhythm, corners bending toward him, defenders losing the plot on staggers, that quick trigger confidence that makes ball swing turn into points in half a beat. The league noticed, we noticed, and suddenly the bar was set at instant gravity, zero learning curve. Then the game did what it always does to young wings. It scouted him. Teams top-locked pin downs, attached length on the hip through traffic, and dared him to earn feet-set catches with better routes and tougher counters. On our side, a possession here or there drifted into tough pull-ups. On theirs, a corner that used to be clean turned into a hand in the face and a bump on the shoulder. You saw it, I saw it, and it's fair to say the cold nights felt heavier because the hot nights came first. That's the roller coaster. But the organization never graded him as a 2-week story. They graded him across responsibilities, mechanics on open looks, decisiveness after the catch, willingness to screen, and the quiet thing coaches love, does he keep the offense on schedule even when he doesn't touch the ball for 2 trips? You know what else they graded? His contract slot. A cost-controlled shooter on a rookie-scale deal is jet fuel for a contender's rotation, or clean salary in a bigger framework if the right veteran shakes loose. That's not a rumor, that's roster math. Let me translate the October move for the homies who are asking me at the coffee spot on Fairfax. Picking up his 2026 to 2027 option wasn't just a pat on the back. It was saying, we're not letting go of affordable shooter just because the timeline had a bad week. It signaled belief and optionality in the same sentence. And yeah, I know you haven't forgotten the February storm. Nobody in LA forgets mid-season drama. The deal that would have shipped Dalton out for a needed big looked done, then got rescinded after a failed physical on the other side, and the whole city had whiplash. He went from traded to suited up again in 72 hours. That's the kind of week that humbles a locker room and teaches a front office what their reputation is under pressure. Do you move fast and careless, or do you move fast and clean? The lesson inside the building was simple. Don't panic, don't get stubborn, and don't bleed value to make a headline. You saw the same message in the days that followed. They patched the hole without torching future flexibility, and they reopened the door for Dalton to earn back playoff minutes the old-fashioned way, with habits, not hype. Now just talk basketball, not just vibes. When Dalton plays to the job description this roster needs, our offense breathes. That job description isn't star scorer. It's movement shooter with purpose, second-side decision-maker who doesn't break tempo, and connective tissue who turns gravity into clean shots for himself and for others. That sounds simple. It isn't. It means sprinting into relocations like you're late to class, ghost screening just enough to freeze a switch without fouling the spacing, setting pin-ins with real contact so the corner opens not by accident but by design. It means that if the first look isn't there, you don't dribble in place, you flow. Touch pass to the slot, screen away, lift on time, respot your feet. When he does that, our stars get single coverage 1 beat longer, the paint gets softer on the drive, and the second unit goes from chore to weapon. The defensive piece is the part that decides whether he's in closing groups or watching them. Teams hunted him. Of course they did. That's not a knock. That's what everyone does in May. Find the weakest link and pull the thread. Over the last stretch, the staff's ask has been clear. Earlier stance, show chest, not shoulder on the first slide, top foot outside the dribble, absorb contact, and finish possessions. Don't reach, don't open the gate, communicate the switch, tag down early on the drive so we're not in emergency help. He doesn't have to be an eraser. He has to be sound. If he's average on defense and true to himself on offense, he's playable in real minutes. If he's a minus on both, he's in the rumor mill. That's the fork. And here's where the rumor you've been reading all day runs into the whiteboard in the spreadsheet. The reason Dalton Knecht out of the Lakers became a thing this week is a cocktail of 3 truths and 1 lazy jump. Truth 1. His number is small, which makes him the cleanest way to start building salary in a trade. Truth 2. Teams still see the early tape and believe there's more in the bag if they can feed him touches without the LA microscope. Truth 3. The Lakers, as always, are monitoring two-way wings with size who can survive switches in the spring. The lazy jump is thinking those truths add up to a move just because we can. They don't. Not in this apron era. Not when you're trying to protect future picks, and not when your depth finally stops bleeding possessions. The only reason to move him is if the player coming back solves a playoff problem at a level his upside cannot. A legit 3-and-D forward who checks elite wings on an island and doesn't shrink the floor on offense, or a defensive center who lets you keep stretch principles without becoming 5-on-4. Anything short of that, and you're trading controllable shooting to relearn spacing every week.
That is not how you win in LA. Now, mid-ride check-in, because I want your read before we hit the reveal. Drop it in the comments right now, and I'll feature the sharpest breakdown next upload. To unlock Dalton in this exact rotation, are you asking for more movement plays, elevators, stagger into Chicago action, Spain with him as the back screener, or do you want the simple stuff? 5 out, drive and kick, let his percentage normalize by volume? And if a two-way forward actually hits the market, what's your red line on outgoing? Would you include a lightly protected pick deep in the future if it means keeping the top 8 intact? Or is the standard no picks unless the upgrade is obvious in April? Be specific, because that's the real conversation inside the building. Back to the court, because the retool is already on film. The staff has started to put him into early clock touches that aren't about hero ball. Drag screen decoys that flare him to the wing, handoffs that force his defender to decide between over and under before the paint touch arrives. ATOs that steal 8 clean points a night without asking him to create from a dead stop. They're mixing his starting spots. Some nights he's low man in the corner as a gravity anchor. Some nights he's the slot lifter on a rescreen. And when the matchup calls for it, they'll give him a third-quarter runway with second-unit ball handlers who actually look for that shooter trail over the top. The goal isn't a number, it's pressure. Make the defense pick the poison. If they stay home, stars eat. If they stunt, the pass is there. If they switch, punish the mismatch with downhill touches or the quick cut behind the switch. This is how you turn a shooter in a slump into a problem the other bench has to game plan. And we should talk about expectations in LA versus anywhere else because it's different here and we all know it. On a rebuilding team, a young wing can take 20 shots to find rhythm and the story is development. On a team with contending standards, the story is, can we win this possession in 0.8 seconds? That's a brutal adjustment for a rookie contract player, and it's why the October option mattered. It bought time without panic, it bought the right to be patient without being passive, and it kept the door open for a real upgrade if one shows up. Meanwhile, the locker room reads this stuff, and what keeps it healthy is clarity. Dalton's job is defined, the staff is aligning his minutes to the job, and the front office has set the trade threshold where it belongs, high. If he clears the bar, he's a Laker who helps win. If he doesn't, then and only then do you reopen the phone lines for something that changes who guards the best wing for 24 minutes without blowing up the spacing we worked so hard to build. So, is the rumor totally baseless? No. It's LA. We live in rumors. His profile, age, salary, shooting potential makes him a natural name in frameworks. There's real smoke when other teams call because they've seen the first month of this season and they think they can buy low. But here's the part the loudest voices miss. Exercising the team option crushed any urgency. You don't pick up that option to dump a player, you pick it up to either play him through the variance and let the role mature, or to preserve value so you're dealing from strength, not fear. And you definitely don't pick it up to attach him to a money dump that ruins your rotation depth. That's not happening. If a veteran with true two-way juice, playoff-tested, controllable for more than a rental, actually becomes available at a cost that doesn't strip the bench, then yeah, you listen like adults. Otherwise, you do what winning teams do. You keep a cost-controlled shooter, you coach him hard, and you let the math even out while the defense gets less leaky and the timing gets cleaner. And because this is Lakers News Fan Report, I'm going to talk to you like it's just you and me in the gym for the last minute. You want a cleaner shot diet? Me too. More catch and shoot, fewer contested pull-ups. If he touches it twice in a possession, the second touch should be a shot or a swing, not a dribble into traffic. You want to see smarter matchups? Me too. Put him on the weaker wing so the help principle protects him. Then make him pay that back with the little things. Crash when the far corner lifts, sprint back on the shot so we don't give up freebies, talk through the switch early so we're not late from the nail. You want the confidence to return? That's reps, family. It's not a press release, it's a Tuesday practice and a Thursday walkthrough. That's how LA gets another rotation shooter ready for April. Okay, climax time, clean and straight. No winks, no hedge. Dalton Knecht is not out of the Lakers tonight. He's out of the lazy conversation that treats a controllable shooter as a problem to solve and back in the lane where he belongs. Develop or deal only if the return is a clear, playoff-proof upgrade. The option in October confirmed internal belief. The rescinded trade in February taught the room to be disciplined, not desperate. The plan now is simple. Play to his strengths, tighten the defense just enough to survive targeted minutes, and keep him unless a perfect two-way fit knocks on the door. You want an honest ending? Here it is. My concise analysis? The rumor has logic because the salary slot is tidy and other teams smell opportunity, but the threshold to act is high. And the current plan prioritizes extracting his spacing and movement value while protecting picks, cap sheet, and rotation chemistry. Before we close, tell me below, would you keep rolling with Dalton through the deadline and let the percentages normalize while the playbook leans harder into movement? Or would you only move him for a legit switchable 3-and-D forward with size and a playoff resume you trust on an island for 8 straight possessions? If you'd move him, name the archetype and the playoff job you want solved. Corner spacing versus top blocks, second side rim pressure, primary on-ball defense on elite wings, because that's how we separate noise from plan. If you're rocking with this approach, lock in with me, like the video, subscribe, turn on the bell, and stay close. I'll drop the film thread on his relocation tweaks and the back screens we're layering in to get him clean looks, plus the mid-season market check on the exact two-way forwards worth your time. This is Lakers News Fan Report, LA voice, LA pace, and a promise to keep it real even when the timeline wants a shortcut.